Alright, welcome to Old World Gaming. This is just well, I'm planning on this being a quick video. I don't know how long it'll take really, but I don't think it'll take very long. But I thought I'd have a look at how many points of dwarves you get in the new battalion that's coming out. So, I'm guessing, haven't they been, they've been about 100 quid previously for the other battalions, where I say the other battalions, it's only Orcs and Goblins that got a battalion at the moment, isn't it? Let's have a look. Orcs and Goblins. £110, okay, fine. And I mean, looking at what you get in that battalion, I would imagine the dwarf one is a lot more points because this is like goblins. What? Goblins like 3 points, maybe 4 points, and you get, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So, what, 10 goblins are like 40 points, 80 points, 160 points. So it's not very many points there. Whereas if that's dwarves, which it is here, clearly that's a lot of dwarves, I reckon that it's going to be much better value in terms of points for the dwarf one than the orc and goblin one. So there we go. So if you're a dwarf player, that's good for you. Okay, so what have we got here? So we've got a gyrocopter. From what I recall, these two actually use the same kit, just a little extension bit in the middle to make it bigger. I've not actually, so these came out in 8th edition. I've mentioned previously that I wasn't really in the hobby or following the hobby during 8th edition. 7th edition was kind of where I tapped out. So yeah, so my gyrocopters are the old gyrocopters, and I have mixed feelings about these. I don't know. I don't know how much of a fan I am of them. They might grow on me. We'll have to see. I don't need any more though. I think I've got enough gyrocopters of the classic variety. Yeah, 2 gyrocopters or gyro bombers, whatever you want to use, and then these guys can be made as either thunderers or quarrelers. Now, my preference normally is to take them in units of 10 and have those as my core units. I mean, you don't get any other option there, definitely core units. I mean, I don't know how many you can have. Can you have as little as 5 in a unit these days? I'm just flicking through the book. Where are we? Quarrelers and Thunderers, you can have 5 in a unit. So that's interesting, because previously, I'm sure in like 6th edition, I've got a 6th edition book around there somewhere, I didn't set up a camera for flicking through a book, so I wasn't really planning on flicking through any books. I was just going to do it all online, which I'll do in a sec. But yeah, it was a minimum of 10 plus in 6th edition. I think the same for 7th edition. I don't know about 8th edition. But yeah, so the fact that you can have 5 of these in a unit, that's interesting. Yeah, it gives a different dynamic. Okay, so we've got, how many's here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 32, oh it does say that, 32 missile troops, so thunderers or crossbows, handguns or crossbows. Now I think a handgun, it's got a 24-inch range, crossbow's got a 30-inch range. That's the difference between the two. If I recall, they're both strength 4, and maybe handguns got more AP than a crossbow. I think that's the main differences. Here we go. I'm just looking at this now. In fact, you know what? If I tell you what, let's do this in a way that's far more better for visuals. Let's have a look on here. Well, I am a big fan of looking in books, but that doesn't help when I forgot to set a camera up. So, yeah, I don't know how many points, it does really matter. Let's arbitrarily choose that. I don't know, 1,000 points. Dwarf Mountain Holds, great list. Okay, so I was just looking at core units. Yeah, minimum of 5. That's interesting. Okay, so Quarrelers come with a crossbow. Here we go. So a crossbow is Armor Bane 2, Ponderous, -2 for moving and shooting. Wowee, that is a that feels like overkill. Really? A crossbow is Ponderous, -2 for moving and shooting. Yeah, that really does feel like overkill. But okay, whatever. I wasn't planning on moving and shooting with them anyway. Dwarves have Yeah, let me have a look. Dwarves have ballistic skill 3, right? They've veterans ballistic skill 4. They've never really had great ballistic skill, which does always surprise me because they're like an elder race, but whatever. So crossbows, armor bane 2, strength 4, range 30. Yeah, but like very difficult to move and shoot with. Armor bane 2, so if you roll a 6, then it's -2 off armor save, which is really good, actually. So that's not to be sniffed at. And thunderers, I feel like handguns are very similar, shorter range, AP 1, so yeah, ponderous as well. Yeah, ponderous. That's really interesting because they definitely went through a phase where handguns. Let me think about this. Okay, yes. So handguns used to be move or shoot at one point, and then they went to move and fire for dwarven handguns. This is me trying to dredge back into the depths of my brain for like 6th and 7th edition. But I'm sure, yeah. So ponderous, I guess, is a step up from move or fire, but not as good as the dwarf move and shoot at -1. But there we go, fine. So they've got armor piercing where the crossbow doesn't. So they always are damaging armor easier than crossbows, unless they roll a 6, in which case they've got the same AP as a crossbow. So they're both equal on 6s. So handguns in that respect. Yeah, so would I go for handgun these days? So I always used to go for handguns. I always used to take thunderers. But now I'm thinking maybe crossbows are better in this version because they've both got the ponderous. I think that was where the handgun won out because crossbows will move or shoot. Ah, no, it's too far away in my head. It doesn't really matter anymore. Except, okay, here's why it matters. I don't have crossbowmen. I mean, I've got a few. I've got very, very few crossbowmen built, and I've got 30 thunderers built. So I say built; they were just those single-piece metal thunderers from 6th edition. So I've got 30 thunderers already painted to some degree. So I've got 10 finished and then 20 kind of half painted, as is the way with a lot of my stuff. There is half done, lots of half done models in my armies. Anyway, that doesn't really matter for this this conversation anyway. So yeah, crossbows. I'm actually rating crossbows, to be honest. The AP, I think AP -1 is kind of negligible. I think I like the 30-inch range. Do I like the 30-inch range? Maybe not. Yeah, it's an interesting call actually, because to give up 6 inches of range and always have the AP, maybe it's worth having 1 unit of crossbows for the extra range and then the rest as handguns. Depends how far away I'm planning on deploying from my enemy, right? If I'm planning on sitting right at the back, then the crossbows are better because I get more turns of shooting the opponent. Whereas if I'm planning on being quite far forwards, then the thunderers will be better because they just always get the AP -1. So yeah, there we go. So anyway, my initial thoughts was I would split these into actually 3 units of missile troops. However, you can have them in units of 5. What's the benefit of having them in units of 5? You've got more flexibility in terms of who you shoot at, so that's kind of good, but it's also quite unwieldy having lots of little units. I don't know. I'm not sure I hate it either way, actually. Having small units is kind of cool. Gives you lots more flexibility. Okay, so let's start. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put them as units of 10. You know what? And I need 1 unit of 12. Let's have 12 crossbowmen. You can have great weapons. Yeah, it's interesting. And shields. So there's a couple of ways you could go with this. You could essentially make these into combat units that can also shoot, right? So you could have them as yeah, biggish units that just sit there and shoot for most of the game, and then rank up into kind of a combat unit when your opponent gets close. In which case you go for your full command, you take your shields, you might want great weapons because that makes them a little bit punchy if they do get into combat. So yeah, they've got some quite good flexibility really, because being a dwarves are, I mean, they're toughness 4, right? So that actually makes them really good. Toughness 4, leadership 9. So these guys are pretty decent in combat. And what have they got? They've got heavy armor as well. Heavy armor and shields, they are actually very, very good, right? Heavy armor, yeah. Previously, they used to have light armor. I don't think they ever had heavy armor as an option in... Did they? Not in 7th edition that I recall. They didn't in 6th. Pretty sure they didn't in 7th either. And giving them... but you did get the hand weapon and shield bonus. So having... in 7th edition? Oh no, I'm struggling again. 6th edition, I think, I feel like it was 6th and 7th edition maybe. You got a 6+ armor save for having a shield, but if you had a hand weapon and shield in combat, then you got +1 to your armor save, which gave you a 5+, and obviously with your light armor is a 4+ armor save, so that was pretty good. I always thought that was good. The fact that they've got heavy armor now, which gives them a base of 5+, giving them a shield is a 4+, these guys are still really, really good in combat. So I actually, it's almost tempting, that's not the right screen, almost tempting to, and that's what I was looking for. Like, I don't know, I would probably... They're basically just dwarf warriors, right? They're dwarf warriors who come with a gun or a crossbow. Like, what's the difference between a dwarf warrior? Dwarf warrior has heavy armor and a hand weapon, and they can have shields. So they've got some extra abilities, I guess. Drilled and veteran. And what they got here? Shield wall. Resolute, I think, means you can always march, right? No, it's not. Resolute is they're slow, but pretending they're grim and determined. That's what it is, really, right? They get a -1 modifier when fleeing or pursuing, not because they're slow, have short legs and a movement 3, but because they're grim and determined, who reluctantly give up their positions. It's definitely because they're slow. But anyway, let's not pretend that. Right, so they have shield wall. So shield wall is... Once per game, during a turn in which it was charged, a unit with this special rule that is arrayed in a close order formation and that is equipped with and chooses to use shields may give ground rather than the fallback in good order. So, is this... in a turn that it's charged, they have to be in close order, fine, and equipped with shields, yeah. So, a turn that they're charged, they've got their shields out, and they give ground rather than fallback in good order. I guess that means they failed their break test. The result was fallback in good order, and they decide that they're going to use their once per game option to turn that into a give ground, which is different to stubborn, where you have to use it in your first time, and you have to declare that you're going to use their stubborn before you roll for your break test. So this is much more flexible than stubborn. But obviously has a different effect. But yeah, interesting that there's 2 different triggers, if you like, or times when you can trigger it. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, just a little pondering there. So yeah, these guys are what? If they're what, 8 points each? Yeah, 8 points each. That's my maths going. So let me take these down to 45 points. So these are 9 points each. Yeah, they're 9 points each. So you're paying 1 point for a crossbow. That's crazy. Why would I ever want to take Dwarf Warriors when I can take Corylus? Why would I? Okay, what? They have Shield Wall. Okay, so Dwarf Warriors come with Shield Wall. What's Dwarf Crafted? Models don't get -1 to hit when making stand and shoot. Interesting. Good to know. Yeah. So... I don't know. That intrigues me actually. The bonus is shield wall instead of a crossbow, and so crossbows are 45 points. How many? 9 points each. How much is a thunderer? Thunderers are 10 points each, and they have heavy armor. They have all the same rules. Basically, they just got handguns instead of crossbows. Okay. Yeah, I mean, these guys are good. Give them shields, and they've got the heavy armor. They've got a 4+ armor save, a toughness 4, and leadership 9. I mean, that's very, very cool. So yeah, unless you want shield wall and want to pay for... where am I? Here. Want to pay for drilled or veteran, then, I mean, I'd be going quarrelers and thunderers all the way, really. But there we are. Let's have a look. What does drilled do again? Unless it's fleeing, a drilled unit may perform a free redress the ranks maneuver immediately before moving. Once this maneuver is complete, the unit moves as normal. In addition, a drilled unit can march within 8 inches of the enemy unit without first having to make a leadership test. Note, any character that joins a drilled unit is considered to be drilled as well. Okay, so dwarves, I guess, have they lost their can always march within 8 inches of an enemy unit? I think they might have, and that's what drilled kind of gives them back. Yeah, plus the free maneuver before moving. Now I can't remember if you can do that before a charge or not, but I don't really care enough right now. Veteran, what does veteran do? If the majority of the models in a unit have this special rule, the unit may re-roll any failed leadership test. Break tests are not leadership tests. They just use leadership. May re-roll failed leadership tests. It's basically mark of chaos undivided. Is that right? Is that what it does? No, that's panic, isn't it? Anyway, re-roll any failed leadership test. I mean, it does take a lot to unsettle dwarf warriors. They're already leadership 9. They'll probably be leadership 10 if they're within range of a general. So that feels not strictly necessary. But there we go. So you miss out on drilled and veteran options. I think I'd have to be a bit more familiar with drilled. No, you know what? Veteran just makes you very, very stubborn. Apart from break tests. Are they really going to fail? I'm not sure they're even going to fail many leadership tests at all. I feel like veterans overkill on a dwarf. Drilled, yeah, I need to be a bit more familiar with how drilled works to decide how valuable that is. But aside from that, the shield wall then is kind of good. So it's about these special abilities as to whether the warriors are better than the crossbowmen or the thunderers, really. So there we go. Anyway, for our purposes, we are taking the units that are in the box set. So we have got. So if I'll do what I said I was going to do a minute ago, and we'll have a unit of 12 crossbowmen and then 2 units of 10 thunderers. That's my plan. So 12 quarrelers, and the question is, do you bother with any of these? With a unit of 12, you can form 3 ranks. What type of... Oh, where's it saying in here? Are they... They are heavy infantry. Okay, so heavy infantry get to have ranks of 4. There you go, models per rank. So you need ranks of 4. So if you've got a unit of 12 quarrelers, you can form up into 3 ranks and get your +2 rank bonus when you get near combat. So let's put a standard bearer musician and a champion in this one. And does it? Oh yeah, and he gets better ballistic skill as well, right? We just saw that on here. Veteran is ballistic skill 4. So okay, yeah, why not? Okay, 123 points so far, and we'll give them shields. Oh, I mean that's a interesting choice. Do we give them shields or great weapons? Shields is very good. They're quite good in combat, but if you're in 3 ranks of 4, you're not expecting to do much damage. but you don't have to go into 3x4. You are likely to be charged. Yeah, I don't know. There's options there. I'm just going to give them shields for now. So there we go. So 135 points for our unit of Quarrelers. Let's have a couple of units of Thunderers. And I'm not going to give them anything other than shields, I think. Yeah, 2 units of 10 guys with shields and no commands. Do I want to give him? I mean, extra ballistic skill? You could do. We'll see how many points we're at later on. And let's have another unit of 10 Thunderers. So this is how I'm leaning anyway. If I was to get the box, that's not how you type in 10. Shields as well. Great, so 110 points for each of those units. And then, so this is kind of another combat unit and two missile units. I see. It's a missile / combat unit. Right, warriors. Now for the warriors, I think I would have a unit of 20. So I take this flank here and put them here, or column, whatever you want to call them, put them here. So you have 5 by 4, and then make this have a hand weapon and shield unit, and then have a great weapon unit, 2 ranks of 6 probably. That's the approach that I would go for. So that's what I'm going to do with these. So let's make this a unit of 20. 205. How many points was that? 205, 1,616 points. Imagine taking, that's not even 205, imagine taking a unit of warriors that was dwarf warriors that was 205. That's very unnecessary. But there we go. Haven't even seen a goblin unit that big. Right, so we'll give them all the things. All of the things. They can take a runic banner and weapon runes on a champion in a warrior unit. I mean, that is pretty cool. Those are options that you don't get with the Quarrelers. 20 points. There are a lot of options for 25 points. I really need to look through all of the runic options. I'm not doing that right now though. But there we go. And then the banners. Yeah, a whole bunch of banners as well. Yeah, okay, very interesting. These guys are going to have shield. Drilled or veteran, probably not. You could do if you wanted to. So there we go. 195 points for a unit of 20 warriors. Full command and shields. So that can be the core block. And then what are we looking for? Dwarf warriors. And this is the last 12. I've done it again. I have to put that there and delete that. There we go. 12 dwarf warriors. We'll take a champion in the unit. The question is, do I need a standard bearer musician for those 12? Yeah, I guess we've got options, haven't we? We can form in 2 ranks of 6. Or as a block of 4 by 3. Great weapons, and why not shields in case they're shot at. Do they need veteran? Don't know. They're obviously not going to. They're probably not going to be using shield wall because they've got their great weapons. Do they swap their hand weapons for great weapons? I've got the book next to me. Let me have a quick look. Dwarf warriors. No, they can take great weapons. So they've got great weapons in addition to their hand weapons. So you've got the option of using shield wall if you want to, by not using your great weapons for a combat if you prefer. So there we go. That's good. So that's those, and then we have got the Gyrocopters. Now, arguably, if you could get this box set and turn a couple of these guys into characters. You could probably make a rune priest and a general of some sort, a thane. So maybe we should do that. Maybe I should make this. Let's make this a unit of 10, and we can make a rune priest and a thane out of the guys. But first, where are the gyrocopters? Here they are. The gyrocopters there, and then where's the gyro bomber? In rare, a gyro bomber. Okay. So yeah, why not? Let's take one of each. I mean, I don't actually know what's a gyro bomber do. Oh, many options. Full plate armor, armored fuselage. Yeah, just a 4+, fine. Bombing run, close order, fly, impact hits, D3+1, swift stride. Yeah, bombing run. What does that do? Okay, the model may perform a bombing run attack against a single enemy unit that is not engaged in combat. To do so, this model must move by flying over the unit it wishes to attack during the remaining move's subphase. Once this model's movement is complete, roll on the bombing run table below. Oh, it's a random thing. Premature detonation. The release mechanism jams and a bomb explodes prematurely. This model loses a single wound. A single wound for release for a bomb exploding next to a whole bunch of other bombs on a flying machine. That's very generous. Only losing a single wound, but fine. Dud. A solitary bomb is released but fails to detonate before landing squarely upon the head of an unfortunate enemy. The enemy unit loses a single wound. Okay, kills the guy because it's heavy. Direct hit. A cluster of bombs lands directly on target. Place a large 5-inch blast template so its central hole is directly over the center of the enemy unit. Does that mean you can like... Do you have to move over the center of the unit? No, so you could clip the unit and yet get the template over the center. Okay. Sounds a bit sketch, but that's what it says. Once placed, this template will scatter d6. Okay, fine. Any model whose base lies underneath the template's final position risks being hit and suffering a single strength 4 hit with an AP of -1. Bombs away. A cluster of bombs is released, falling over a wide area. Place 2 small 3-inch blast templates so their central hole is over the enemy unit. Once placed, each template will scatter d6. Any model whose base lies underneath risks being hit on suffering a single strength 4 hit with AP of 1. That's interesting. I don't know which is better there. So, 2 small templates or 1 big one. The big one scatters d6 and the little ones scatter d6 as well. I guess there's the little ones give you a chance of one not scattering as far as the other. But yeah, there we go. Alright, yeah. Interesting. Their strength 4 AP -1. But they also any model whose base lies underneath risks being hit. How does it risk being hit? So I guess it uses the normal rules for template. Doesn't say here use the normal rules for templates, but template, sure, fine. I'm just going to assume it uses the normal rules for templates. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, why not take one of those? What's a clatter gun? Armorbane, dwarf crafted, move and shoot multiple shots. Nice, quick shot. Well, it's got all of the shooting options. 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 1. So it's basically a handgun that shoots d6 shots. -1 to hit for sure. Okay, so where'd that go? No, it wasn't bombing run. It was clattergun. What was dwarf crafted? So it can stand and shoot with no penalty. Move and shoot is even if you marched. Okay, nice. Multiple shots and quick shots. No -1 for moving and shooting. Yeah, okay, great. But it does get -1 for multiple shots. So it's d6 strength 4 shots. Doesn't get -1 for standing and shooting. Doesn't get can march and shoot, and doesn't get -1 for moving and shooting. So yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. What's this? The brimstone gun. I feel like that's a flaming attacks. Oh, 18-inch range. Strength 5. Nice. Flaming attacks, multiple shots, D3 +1. Quick shot. Oh, this is actually really good. But you can't move and shoot with it. No, you can't march and shoot with it. Sorry. Wait. Quick shot is you don't get -1 for moving and shooting, but you can't march and shoot. But you can always stand and shoot. So let me just get my head around the differences there. It doesn't have move and shoot, so you can't march and shoot. So it's got a much shorter range essentially than the other one, because the other one you can march. So it was fly 8, which means you can march 16 and then shoot. So you've kind of got 24-inch range was, that's another 6 inches on that, plus the extra 8 inches that you can move. So you're at, what, 14? The other one's essentially got 14-inch extra range, which is pretty good. Strength 4, AP 1 compared. So it's, on average, you're wounding on 2s. So against strength, toughness 3. Most things are toughness 3. So against toughness 3, you're wounding on 2s with this, very good. And AP minus 2, which is very, very good as well. What's Dwarf crafted? Oh, that's the... Wait. You don't suffer -1 to hit when making a stand and shoot reaction. Quick shot. Okay, fine. You can stand and shoot no matter how close they are. Fine, okay. Yeah, Brimstone Gun. Brimstone Gun is really good at doing damage, but the Clatter Gun has got more range. How much do I care about range? D6, more shots, kind of. I don't know if on average it actually does work out as more shots, because they get D3 plus 1. So minimum is 2 on this one, whereas the minimum on the other one is 1. So there we go. Yeah, interesting. I quite like the Brimstone Gun. I think the Brimstone Gun is good. However, you are going to be, with your bombing run, you are going to be flying over units. Can you... Not... Remaining ruse. There's nothing to say that you can't do a bombing run and shoot your gun. So maybe the Clatter Gun is a better way to go. Actually, I haven't looked at the Steam Gun yet. Strength 3, AP 1, breath weapon. Okay, I mean, it's with being a breath weapon, it's got a lot of chance to hit lots of models. Breath weapons aren't one use only anymore, are they? Once per round, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, so you've got the potential to hit quite a lot of models with a breath weapon. So, yeah, so I think this one hits the most stuff. This one, they're kind of equal actually. This one's got potential to hit up to 6, but I think they're on average they probably hit about the same amount. This one does a lot more damage, but this one you can march and shoot with. Can you march and shoot? Wait, you can't march and fire with this one. Can you march and fire with a breath weapon? A model with a breath weapon can use it once per round during the shooting phase of its turn. Place the flame template with its broad end over the intended target and its narrow end touching the model's base anywhere along its front arc. The template must lie entirely within the model's vision. Any model whose base lies underneath risks being hit. Strength, yep. Breath weapons cannot be used when making a standard shoot charge reaction or when the model is engaged in combat. There's nothing here that says you can march and shoot with a breath weapon, which feels like an oversight. I feel like you should be able to march and shoot with a breath weapon, but whatever. So Clatter Gun. It's the Clatter Gun, because you can't march and shoot with the others. So there we go. Clatter Gun it is. Which I'm a little bit sad, because the Brimstone Gun is very good, but I feel like if I've got Bombing Run, I'm definitely going to be using Bombing Run. So there we go. That's my analysis on the Gyrocopter. You're welcome. And then let's take a Gyrocopter, probably. Let's see what a Gyrocopter does. Ah, yeah. Brimstone Guns. Guns. Why does it say guns? Oh, because you can have loads of Gyrocopters, correct. Do Gyrobombers just come as a one? Yeah, they're one. So you can't have units of them. Okay, I'd never considered having more than one Gyrocopter at a time. I don't know if you could have units of them before. Maybe this is a new thing. Squadrons of Gyrocopters, maybe in 8th edition. Excuse me. So I think Brimstone Gun looks like my favourite of the options. So I'll definitely take that on a Gyrocopter because it's got more options. Okay, so we've got Dive Bomb. What's Dive Bomb? Once per game. Okay, unit with a special rule may perform a dive bomb attack against a single enemy unit that is not engaged in combat. To do so, this unit must move by flying over the unit it wishes to attack during the remaining move subphase. Once this unit movement is complete, the enemy suffers D6 strength 3 hits, each with an AP of -1 for each model in the unit that moved over. However, each roll of a natural 1, when determining the number of hits, a bomb is misfired and this unit loses a single wound instead. Oh, this unit, not the unit you're shooting at. I was like, what? Okay, the enemy unit suffers D6 strength 3 hits. Meh, it's alright, I'm not paying any extra for it, so fine. It's okay. Sure, it's a free attack. What's not to like? Fire and flee, flying 9, so they're faster than the gyro bombers. Impact hits D3, magic resistance 1, skirmishers, swift stride, vanguard. Yeah, vanguard's useful. After deployment, units with this special rule may make a vanguard move. A unit making a vanguard move moves. moves. A unit making a vanguard move moves as described in the basic movement rules. It may maneuver normally but cannot march. Great. So yeah, vanguard is good, and it's movement 9, so that's good. That's a decent distance. You can vanguard out. I don't think the gyro. Oh, that's the gyro bomber had that. No vanguard move for that. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, Gyrocopter, that's particularly good with the less range on its brimstone gun. Like 18-inch range is fine. Like that's decent enough range, particularly if you've got the vanguard in out 9. So yeah, very good. It's got full plate armor. That's very good. What's its toughness? Toughness 5. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I felt like it was more vulnerable. Maybe they did used to be. Maybe they didn't have. I can't remember what the. You know what? I've got the dwarf. I got the first 6th edition dwarf book in front of me. Let me just have a quick look and see what the armor was like on a gyrocopter. 4+ armor save, same. Yeah, there we go. And they were toughness 5 with 3 wounds. How many wounds have they got these days? 3 wounds, yeah. So they are basically all. They've got an extra attack. I'm looking at the original 6th edition book. They only had 1 attack in the 6th edition book. Other than that, and they were strength 3 instead of strength 4. So yeah, there we go. So they've gone up a strength, and they've gone up an attack from 6th edition. So yeah, there we go. And you could, well, in 6th edition you can only have 1 in a unit. That was it. So yeah, there we go. Great. They've got loads better since then. Cool. Anything else? No, we've looked at all of the things. Okay, so I think that's how I would take my gyrocopter. Okay, 65 points. So how many points are we at? Yeah, now I think it's basically a 1,000-point army if we add our characters. So we'll have a Thane. This feels a bit rude to have a king leading such a small army. So we'll have a Thane. He'll be the general, and we could have a battle standard bearer, I guess. Yeah, I'll have to see. So now, that's okay. That's a question about runes. Where's the rune? Where are runes? Here they are, runes. Is there a thing that tells us about how runes work? No, not on here. There we go, never mind. So the question I don't know in this version is if runes turn your weapons into normal weapons, because they used to. So if you took a great weapon, for example, in 6th or 7th edition, as soon as you put a rune on it, it just counts as a hand weapon. And I'm wondering if that's still the case. So I'm reading from the book now. There's a whole bunch of different places to read, I think. Weapon runes can be inscribed upon a hand weapon or great weapon, whatever form it takes. Yeah, okay. Weapon runes can be inscribed upon a hand weapon or great weapon, whatever form it takes. A model cannot have more than 3 weapon runes, no matter how many weapons it carries. A weapon with 1 or more runes inscribed upon it is a magic weapon. Cool, okay. So you can take them on a great weapon. That is new, because you used to have to pay a lot of points to keep your great weapon as a great weapon in previous editions. That's very good. Okay, he's taken a great weapon, a runic great weapon, probably. Okay, yeah, and whether he takes anything else, he'll take a Take a shield just because. What do O stones do these days? Challenges issued by a character with an O stone cannot be refused. In addition, a character with an O stone and a unit they've joined automatically pass any panic test, but cannot choose to flee as a charge direction. O stones are rubbish compared to 7th edition. O stones were amazing in 7th edition. 7th edition, O stones were they didn't come into effect until you placed them. So you carried it with you, and then you placed it down. You basically said, I hereby claim this area of the battlefield. You plonk it down, and you can't move for the rest of the game. But your unit essentially forms up into a defensive square around the guy with the O stone as they vow to fight to the death for that patch of the battlefield. So in effect, what that meant was, after using the O stone, your unit could no longer move, but didn't have any flanks or rear, so enemies couldn't get any bonuses for being in your flank or rear for combat resolution. They also didn't negate your rank, so you always got your full rank bonus. So yeah, O stone was excellent. Now, this is a bit meh. Challenges issued by a character cannot be refused. Meh. It's kind of alright, I guess. A character with an O stone unit they've joined automatically passes any panic tests. Yeah, I mean, they're dwarves, they're not that scared of stuff. And they can't choose to flee, so I don't really rate that. We don't have any shield bearers in the box, and we could put runes on. I'm not going to work out runes, I'm just going to say like it could be an extra 75 points of runes on there. And then we'll add a runesmith as well, why not? Who is not the general, but will definitely have a great weapon and full plate armor, because why wouldn't you? Full plate armor. Gromril armor is a thing that he just has, I see, right? Because again, in previous editions, full plate armor. Well, full plate armor was just Gromril armor, wasn't it? What does Gromril armor do now then? A model with this special rule may reroll any roll of natural 1 when making an armor save. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's kind of gives them a 3+ armor save, because your ones you reroll anyway. I assume. Yeah, you can't reroll a reroll probably. And he's got a shield. It's kind of so 4/3 almost gives him the 2+ save that they used to have. So that's pretty cool. Great. So there we go. So he's on foot. Yep, no O stone. Oh, this is the thing. I was doing the runesmith. The runesmith is more expensive than the thing, but fine. He can have a shield and a great weapon. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So, and that gives you 25 points left to spend on runes. If you wanted to spend more than that, you could. But yeah, so you've got about, it's a 1,000-point army at the very least. So there we go. So this you can make a 1,000 point dwarf army. Now that's pretty good. 110 quid, let's say, for a 1,000 point army. There's no way that was 1,000 points at all by any stretch. Oh, how many points would that be? Not many at all. What do we say? 160 for the goblins. I don't know how much a chariot is, but they're less than 100 points, I would guess. I can't remember. So let's very generously assume they're 100 points. So there you're looking at 300-ish, 300 and a bit points. So yeah, you'd be lucky if you get a 500-point army out of the Orc and Goblin battalion, and to get a 1,000-point army out of the Orc one. The dwarf one is very, very good. So yeah, very, very good value for money. The dwarf box set gives you 1,000 points. Realistically, you'll get probably buy a cool looking character to go with them. But yeah, 1,000 points, and it'd be very easy to up that to 1,500 points with a war machine or two and a couple of characters. And you'll be on 15 points in no time, 1,500 points in no time. Very good. All right. So yeah, that's cool. I'm pleased with that as an amount of points that you get for that battalion. Like I say, very good value for money. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully that was interesting video, and yeah, good to know what you get in the box and how much how many points it's worth. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and catch you in the next video.